Welcome to Sales Talk for CEOs. I'm glad you're here. I'll be interviewing CEOs who have successfully scaled their B2B sales organization. In each episode, I'll start by uncovering the sales background of each CEO, dig into the strategies they use to build their sales organization, and wrap it up with what the future holds. We'll cover the good, the bad, and the ugly of scaling a sales organization. I'm your host, Alice Hyman. Hi, I'm Alice Hyman with Sales Talk for CEOs. And today I am very excited to have a very close friend of mine, Jamie Crosbie, the CEO of ProActivate, as our guest. Welcome, Jamie.
Thank you so much, Alice. It's such a pleasure to be here with you.
Yeah, it's great. It's great to see you. And it's been tough. You know, we haven't gotten to see each other as often as we had when we were all gathering for events all the time. So we get to see each other this way through a screen. But anyway, we're excited to hear about ProActivate and how you started it. But let's start with telling the audience a little bit about what ProActivate does.
Absolutely. So we are a sales and marketing and leadership talent acquisition firm. So we help leaders of sales and marketing organizations really propel their growth as it relates to talent with a really unique model in the marketplace to do so.
And I know your work firsthand because we've known each other a long time. We've worked together a long time, and many of my clients use your firm and get amazing results. So it's going to be exciting to tell everybody about that today. So, all right. So you're going on 16 years in business now.
Yes. I started January 5th in 2005. I will never forget that day.
Oh my gosh. So take us back. What were you doing right before you started ProActivate, and what on earth made you think, oh, I'll just go start a company?
Alice, I was Vice President of Sales and Vice President of Training and Development at Career Builder. And prior to that, I was in the traditional staffing companies leading sales and operations. And through both of those experiences, just saw a gap in the market for leaders of sales and marketing organizations as it related to really getting the best of the best on their team with talent. So I always knew, though, that I wanted to start my own company someday, because whenever I, was at various companies, I would think, oh gosh, I would love to create this vision or this culture, or I just had these ideas and I thought someday I want my own company. So intentionally, I worked at very entrepreneurial companies so that I would get that experience. And at Career Builder, I was traveling like crazy, probably 80% of the time. And I was taking an entrepreneurial leadership class and had to write a business plan and wrote the business plan essentially for ProActivate. I was a winner in the business plan contest and thought, you know what? I want to do this now. I want to get this going. I'm ready. I knew I was going to have kids eventually, and I wanted to get that initial really hard work done before that. And so I just thought one day when I was at the airport thinking, I don't even know what city I'm in anymore. I just want to be in my own bed. I thought, it's time. I got the business plan. I'm ready.
Wow. Oh my gosh. So you left your job, you started a business, and who did the selling? All of a sudden, here you are, ready to go. Now what?
I know, really and truly. It was a leap of faith, and I really knew that I could make it happen, but it was definitely scary. I remember when I say January 5th, 2005, and you ask who did the selling, it was me for sure. And I literally remember looking into the mirror because my dining room table had a mirror had a wall that was a complete mirror in my dining room, and my face was bright red. I was like, I am making 25 appointments this week. And I was just turning bright red. As I was on the phone, I remember one of them saying, okay, could you give me an example of someone you've helped before and what you've done? And in the moment, I just shrunk and I said, sure, I'll email that to you before the end of the day. And then I thought, why didn't I just say, you're the first call on the first day of my brand new business. So I would love to give that to you. And I'm hoping that you will be that story that I can give to someone else. How about we meet Tuesday at 5:00 or whatever? Instead, I shrunk, got off the phone, but then I came back with that and actually got that appointment. So it was me selling for sure in the beginning and doing a lot of it. I remember the first week I made 25 appointments.
Wow, that is awesome. Amazing. I mean, really good. But you are kind of one of the lucky ones because you had some experience with sales before you started your business. Now, the statistics tell us that only 8% of CEOs actually ever had any sales experience prior to becoming a CEO. So it is a bit helpful. I mean, at least you knew what to do, right? But tell us a bit about the sales experience and how that helped you when you started your company.
Sure, absolutely. And I agree with you. I definitely was lucky from that standpoint, although my dirty little secret is I never had a sales quota myself. I always was in leadership roles. And so I was natural at it. When I was in staffing, I was more on the delivery and the operations side. And eventually the salespeople would ask for some advice and I would give it to them. And then I all of a sudden was the branch manager and then the general manager. And that was over both. I was leading sales and operations. And so I came by it naturally. I think my mom, who was always a sales leader, definitely influenced that.
Yeah.
But I never had a quota. And I would tell you, I probably truly learned sales at Career Builder, like a true solutions-oriented, consultative sales process. And so that did help a lot. And, obviously I was doing all the training and development for sales. I was very, very, very sales process oriented. And like I said, I set 5 appointments a day for the first 5 days. Like I'm setting 25 appointments before the end of the week. I was really good at that. And I followed a process, Alice. It wasn't like I literally had a sales process written for my new company before the first day. So I knew exactly what I was going to say. And, I know sometimes we laugh at the scripts for appointment dialing and things like that. But when you have a red hot face on your first day of your new business and you're going to get caught with objections, even though I didn't necessarily read that script, just having it and knowing what I wanted to say and what my strategy was and that I wasn't getting off the phone until I had gone through 5 objections and things like that really made me hold true to making it happen.
I really believe in call guides or scripts, whatever you want to call them. No, you shouldn't pick up the phone and read off of it, right? But having that preparation and that guide is so critical. So here you are, you had it ready. You had that process before you even opened the doors of your business. You knew you were going to make calls. You knew you were going to be your first salesperson for your company, and you were successful doing it. You were very successful and your company grew. So when was that moment when you thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to have some help here. I'm going to need some more recruiters or I'm going to need some sales help, support, but I am going to need some help here. What was that moment and what did you do?
Well, quickly, I realized I needed help, Alice, because I was selling deals within the first month. And by month 3, I knew I couldn't deliver on these and, sell and then eventually lead and run a business that was growing. And so the first hire was the talent manager to deliver on what I was selling and to help these companies find great talent. And eventually, and that was, I would tell you within the first couple of years, I probably hired 5 to 10 people because I knew that adding a salesperson would be worth $1 million in revenue to my company. And, the talent managers had to support that and deliver on it. Yeah. And so I hired some sales team members and again, then took them through a very specific sales boot camp, so to speak, because I knew that would be the lifeblood of my organization.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So here you are in year 16. And what does your sales organization look like now today?
Well, today, Alice, because we're in year 16 and it's not year one, 80 plus, I think it's 83% to be exact, of our business comes from referrals, which I'm so grateful for and proud of. But that was very strategic with very specific work to get these channel partners, so to speak, or referral partners. And so what our organization really is made up mostly of is the delivery side. We have a very large talent management team, and the talent managers specifically deliver top talent and grow those relationships and accounts. So they're certainly responsible for growing the business and the revenue, and they do. A lot of our business is reoccurring revenue that comes from those talent managers. And then we have a vice president who leads sales and marketing, and as well is a huge piece of, adding revenue to our business. And I still am involved to an extent on the sales organization from the standpoint of those client relationships and referral partner relationships, that they've been really key. And a lot of them have become great friends and partners in business. And so I work really, at just maintaining that and then growing some of those strategic relationships.
Yeah, so I think a couple of things you said are really important for our listeners, which is you made a strategic decision. Instead of growing a large sales team, you decided to grow partners, to grow strong relationships with partner organizations that could refer business to you and just be a constant feeder for you. And I think that that's a big decision point for a lot of companies. Should we go ahead and keep hiring salespeople and growing that way? Should we, develop partners, or some combination of both, which is really truly what you have, a combination of both. But to be able to say that 83% of your business is coming from referrals is remarkable. And I think a lot of listeners out there would like to hear more about that, because I think they wish that 83% of their business was coming from referrals too. And imagine, some of these companies that are much larger that have a sales team, and if they also could build that partner channel up to have that flow. So tell us about how your first partner, maybe how you decided to go into partnership for the referrals, and then how you strategically built that.
Well, I think part of the first step, I should say, or part of the process was really thinking first about who also sells to the same end user. As for us, it's a CEO or a vice president of sales, or, a CMO or things like that, who also sells to those individuals and has relatable business, but not specifically in our lane. So for us, we provide sales organizations, sales talent, as an example, or marketing organizations, marketing talent. And our thought process is, okay, there are a lot of great sales training companies or sales consultants or groups and organizations that are focused on these specific types of leaders, but they don't do what we do. Right. So I thought, okay, there's sales trainers, there's other staffing companies, and most don't specialize in sales and marketing. And there are fractional groups out there that are fractional VPs of sales that are helping companies grow, or fractional CMOs that are helping on the marketing side. And those organizations know that they number one, when the company grows, they need to add sales talent or marketing individuals. Right. They also replace themselves as the fractional. So it was that kind of strategy and thinking, okay, I want to show them our value. And really, a lot of it happened organically. And then it became very strategic. But for example, with some of the fractional groups, we showed that we were very different than the traditional recruiting model, and that we were specialized, that we had a much more in-depth qualification process, that we had a committed result. All of those things led to that, Alice, because once we started seeing success, we developed case studies. We went to the rest of the group, and some of those fractional groups have 150 people in the market serving this one umbrella of an organization. And now that's like 100 salespeople for us, because we have a lot of exclusive relationships like that, where they refer us solely for their client needs as it relates to anything that supports revenue generation.
So they're serving the same audience that you serve, but
Yes.
they don't do talent searches.
Exactly.
And they need, all of the companies they work with need sales and marketing talent or revenue talent, right?
Yes,
And
exactly.
so it's a perfect match. So I think if you're out there listening to this right now and thinking, gosh, how can I find some partners? Jamie has just laid it out for you. Think about who else sells to the same audience that you sell to, and then about, what would be important to them and having a partner and how you would build that. And just start with one and see how it goes, right? And then be more strategic about it and pick up a few more. So that's amazing. And again, I know that many people wish they had that much business coming straight from referrals versus what a lot of companies are doing right now, which is cold calling. And they're hiring salespeople and burning them out, and then needing people like you to find them more salespeople because they burned out the ones that they had, making dials and sending emails and, LinkedIn connections that aren't resulting in conversations. And back to the beginning of our conversation where you said you set appointments and you had conversations.
Yeah.
And it worked. And it worked back then. And salespeople today are not having as much luck setting appointments and having conversations. And it's one of the things we all need to be thinking about is how to get our salespeople more conversations. Now, think about referrals. If someone's referred to you, there's a conversation right there. You're going to have a conversation with the people making the referral, and they're going to make a beautiful introduction, and your salespeople will have a conversation with the people they were referred to versus having to cold call and not reach anyone and getting discouraged. So I highly encourage that.
And the ratios of success, our closing ratios are so much higher with a referral than obviously a cold call.
Yes, so much more. It's amazing. So it's a great plan to think about how you can build some partners and build some referrals into your own company. So Jamie, here you are now today. You've got these great referral partners. You have a VP who's doing sales. What role do you now play as a CEO 16 years later? What's your role in sales?
So I would say, first of all, my role overall is really more truly being a CEO. And it didn't start like that. It really started more in sales. But now I lead the leaders and just a couple of top executives. And then, just create the overall vision and goals and strategy for the company. Yeah. I also am really involved in these strategic partnerships with, some very large referral partnerships, and spend a lot of time really growing that, because you can continue to grow it. And, we may work with some organizations where we are working with half of their team, but there's another 50% that we haven't capitalized on yet.
Right.
So there are those types of opportunities. I also do speaking and, just the conferences and things like that. And so that's more of my role today, and providing the direction and, really the vision for the future for the company.
And there's another role you didn't mention that I happen to know that you play, which is chief evangelist. You are a huge evangelist, right? For your company, you put videos out on all the social media channels, and you share great ideas. And the topic that you talk about is so important. So let's just maybe pause on that for a moment and chat about that. You are out there evangelizing, and you provide a lot of great information on mindset, which is so important for revenue generating positions. So tell us a little bit about how you got into mindset as something you wanted to talk about, and then, what kinds of things you're delivering today around mindset that are helping your clients and others.
Absolutely. Yes, you are right. I am definitely chief evangelist. And that's, when I say networking and speaking and things like that, that is what I'm talking about, because I'm so passionate about that. When I first learned about the impact of mindset through Gerhard Schwartner, and he was talking about it at at, this Selling Power conference, and I just was drawn in. He was telling me about everything he learned, and we talked maybe for 1 hour about it. And I literally thought, I have just been through like 6 months of counseling just listening to this. And I'm like, this is
amazing that way, isn't he? Yeah. Really helps you think about things.
Totally, personally and professionally. So I'm sitting there as a single mom thinking, gosh, this mindset stuff would really help these single moms. I had a single and parenting ministry that I had started, and I thought, these women need to not think like victims. They need to think about, moving forward in their lives. And then, and really, I thought from a professional standpoint, learning about the impact of how we think and then how that affects how we perform is huge. And I really saw the value of incorporating that into our qualification process at ProActivate, knowing that 80% of our success is based on mindset. And yet we spend all this time interviewing people based on skill set and training people based on skill set.
Oh my gosh, that's so true. Everybody interviews for skill set and they don't think about mindset.
Exactly. And it's highly impactful and really important. And having a mindset that is at a high level in terms of performance, just a high performance mindset, I'll call it, increases sales results by at least 33%. So I just thought, okay, I've got to bring this to my clients. This is really important. And so today I'll do, keynote talks on mindset for sales organizations, leadership organizations, or just honestly, it impacts anyone in the company. It could be a recognition event or I'll do a half-day workshop, things like that to really customize it and bring about that change within organizations to focus and develop their team members in this area that accounts for so much of their team members' success.
It's so true, because people can have the best skills and have a terrible mindset, and then those skills don't help them because they say things like, I had a salesperson say to me, well, I've been making a lot of calls, but nobody wants to talk to me. And I thought, wow, if you think no one wants to talk to you, then probably nobody wants to talk to you. So it's this mindset thing, it's big. And a lot of times it's hidden. These little kind of gremlins that tell you can't do something, or you're not quite good enough, or something is in there. So we really have to help salespeople understand what their current mindset is, how they can improve it, right? And how that impacts everyone else around them. And I know the work that you're doing in mindset, you are truly helping others to do that. So follow Jamie on LinkedIn and you'll get her mindset moment. Is that what you call them? The mindset moment?
Yes. And I love what you said about the gremlins, because I think of that as, those limiting beliefs, those lies that we didn't even realize we started believing about ourselves that are holding us back from being who we were fully created to be.
Well, absolutely. And even just in like asking for what you need. So some salespeople won't even ask because they're like, oh, everybody's busy, or they can't do that. Or I don't know, they have some talk in their mind. No, get rid of that. That's self-limiting. Ask for what you need. And then if they say no, okay, figure out another way. But people are holding themselves back by telling themselves a story that may or may not be true. Why don't you ask and find out before you assume? So we need so much work around mindset in the revenue generating positions to really let people be their best and to do that high performance selling that you're talking about. So I think that's really important. Well, good. So now what does the future look like at ProActivate? You're growing. You've grown so much. And I know right now everybody's hiring. So I'm sure your phones are ringing off the hook from your referral partners and all of that. But where do you see it going? I mean, the customer's changing. Everybody's talking about the buyers changing, the way they want to interact and all of that. With your business coming from referrals, though, it may be quite different for you. But what do you see in the future for your sales organization?
I really see continued growth, Alice. It's definitely a candidate-driven market right now, and there is a absolute labor shortage. It's hard to find top talent. Whether it's a candidate-driven market or an employer-driven market, we honestly always have that differentiator in that we're never looking for people that are looking. We're looking for those that are working and winning. So if there are, if there's a huge unemployment pool to choose from, yes, there are more people that our clients have to weed through, but we're really, most often, there's always an anomaly, looking for that person that's not looking, that's doing really well, where this would be the next step in their career. But it is a definite challenge for clients to find that talent right now. And that certainly makes us more busy. I know we'll continue to grow. The market always ebbs and flows. And either way, revenue generating talent is the lifeblood of an organization. I think for us, Alice, we really have found this great balance of really growing our own clients. A lot of our referrals come from clients. Yeah. And these partnerships. And so we will continue to strategically really work to grow the channel partnership or referral partnership arena in our business. And, we work globally. And so it's really unlimited. We are very well received in the market because our model is very unique. And so I think we will add sales talent just to even handle the referrals, but as well, really look at industries and areas that are growing and focus there. Our talent managers are vertically focused as well. So that helps to, specifically look at areas that we can add value from an industry standpoint.
Well, you have it working on all fronts, right? So going into the future, you're set because you have these wonderful partners who give you referrals, and you continue strategically developing those partners as well as others. Then you have your internal team who can take the referrals from the partners or from your existing customers. I know you also really nurture your customers and your retention rate is very high. So you do more searches for your existing customers, and then you're out there evangelizing. So people find you, and you have a team that can talk to them and help understand their needs to see if you're a good fit. So you've got it working all the way around. And I think that is what has you poised for such tremendous growth right now. And I love that. I love seeing your company and the growth that you've had over the many years that I've known you. It's very exciting.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you so much. You've been a huge, huge part of guiding us and helping to make that happen. And I think, too, one thing just on that note I've had to look at is marketing, too, because I came from Career Builder, and we weren't the brand leader. We were the feet on the street leader. We were the value leader. Monster was the brand leader. And so I didn't know marketing like I knew sales, but I've had to learn that because, as you said, the typical cold calling and things like that, it's really not how it happens today. So much of it's social selling, and the marketing and sales alignment so critical to that. So that's an area where we've really had to continue to grow and learn and develop. And like you said, learn to evangelize. And I really love that.
Oh, absolutely. So let's leave our listeners with just a couple of things that will really help them in terms of growing their sales organization from the pro who helps them find great people, right? But what are some things you could leave CEOs with who are right now saying, gosh, we do need to grow our sales organization? What would you suggest they do first? And, going forward into finding great people and growing their organization?
I think one of the most important things, first and foremost, is to really understand what they're looking for. And I think that's a problem many CEOs and sales leaders have, is we don't really have a process for hiring, nor do we have a funnel of talent. So you always talk about your funnel as it relates to revenue, but we hire much better people when we're encouraging our leadership to always be interviewing top talent. Because then you've got that pipeline, and number one, you don't have that revenue, that you're missing, right? That revenue gap because you have a C player or an open position. And two, when you are always interviewing great people, then you are hiring better people. You're not making a mistake. So that's really important to have that pipeline. It's also really important to know what you're looking for, because most of us, if we don't, we're hiring based on like, I really loved having lunch with them.
Or, I like that person. They seem like they're a good fit.
And it feels good. And we end up hiring people just like us, but that's not always what we need because usually we like us. And so we like people who are like us. And so I think it's like, how do we know where we're going, or how do we know if we've arrived if we don't know where we're going? So same with hiring talent. Creating that ideal candidate profile is one of the first steps in our process. And really with that, it's understanding our own cultures, your own story in the marketplace, and having that story that attracts this top talent, because you're courting people, hopefully, that are working and winning, and that this would be a great next step for them. So creating a really in-depth ideal candidate profile, which is not a job description, it's a job description on steroids, and then having a very clear process. So again, you have a sales process, have a hiring process, and have steps in it that are a very in-depth behavioral interview that is based on skill set and mindset, and you do some simulations in that process to see these people in action so that you really know you're looking at people very thoroughly and objectively. Those are some first and foremost suggestions I have. I could go on, as you know.
Yeah. But I like it, summing it up, basically, I think what you said is first know exactly what kind of position this is and who you want to hire. Like, get that down, not just a job description, but a job description on steroids that everyone understands. This is the kind of people we're looking for.
And if then, you have people in the seat today, profile those top performers to see what you want to emulate. That's another step in our process that's critical.
Right. We're looking for A players. So look at the great qualities of your salespeople. And even if you don't have A players right now, they have some A qualities that you can look at to help you formulate this job description that's really going to help you know how to find someone. And I also like what you said about, always build bench strength, always interview for top talent. And when you find it, hire it, right? So that you don't have a gap and you're not sitting there with a position that's unfilled and losing revenue, because, that's really awful. And it is true. Most of the organizations I work with do not have a hiring process. They have a sales process that their salespeople are trained on and go through, but their senior team and their HR department doesn't have a hiring process for revenue generating talent. Yes. And without that, it's sort of a little of this, a little of that, or like you said, we meet them, we like them, they seem good, they seem like they'll be a good fit. Without that process, you don't really know. And I like what you said about thinking, okay, here's this person, do they have the skill set? Do they have the mindset? And, are they going to be a good cultural fit? The things that you need to look at, and then do a little bit of role play or some kind of assignment.
Yes, simulation.
So that you can see if they can actually do it.
Yes. And, I did fail to mention, my whole company was built on the premise of a proactive approach, ProActivate, to really protecting your revenue, because these are revenue generating roles. And if we have time for a funny story, the company name wasn't originally going to be ProActivate, but
we definitely have time for a funny story. So please,
we should end with this. This is so. When I developed my business plan, it was the whole idea of a proactive approach to protecting revenue, and the name of the company in my business plan was Sales Bench, like a bench of talent. So when I was ready to go, I called my lawyer and said, okay, make sure I can get this company name, Sales Bench. And he said, what? I said, Sales Bench. And he said, you can't do that. It sounds like you're saying sales bitch. I don't think you want to be known as the sales bitch. So I decided I should probably reconsider, even though it may have really propelled even more growth. Can you imagine people talking about the sales bitch?
That is so funny. Well, he's probably right on the phone, and that could sound like So
especially if you have a little lovely accent, or you never know what it could sound like.
Well, ProActivate is exactly really what you are. You're very proactive in protecting revenue, and I think that's so important. And I know firsthand how wonderful it can be to work with your company and have you help my CEOs place top talent at their companies. And that top talent is a good fit in every way, and they stay, which is, of course, what we want. Get those A players and keep them, especially in this marketplace. We've got to keep those A players. So it's really important. So, Jamie, it's great to see you. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. Our listeners will have a lot to digest here and so many great things that they can do. So thank you so much.
Thank you. It's been such a pleasure, and I'm so grateful to you because you have really helped propel us forward in our strategy and this growth.
Well, it's been my pleasure. So I will see you very soon. Thanks again.
Thanks, Alice.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Sales Talk for CEOs. You can find me at alicehyman.com. Be sure and connect with me on LinkedIn and let me know that you heard the show. If you found value in today's episode, please subscribe, write a review, and share the show with another CEO.